We are live. All right, sports update. Adrian, Reid was good.
Yo,
Good.
All right, yeah, we in the building. We in the building. All right, so we just seen the college basketball, men's and women's wrap their seasons up. Caitlin Clark lost in the national title game against South Carolina, but Iowa did announce they're gonna retire her 22 jersey. She's definitely Big Ten. She broke so many records. Leader in assists, all time scoring leader, men's and women's all time assist leader. Broke all types of records. So Reid, is Caitlin Clark the greatest women's college player of all time?
I mean, it's so hard to say with all this. Basketball seems to be the only sport for the most part where rings really matter. That in football, because there's a lot of other things where big tournaments don't matter. If you look at golf, Tiger Woods, the greatest golfer of all time, he doesn't have the most major wins. You look at World Series wins, people don't really count. Barry Bonds is the greatest player of all time without people say Babe Ruth, but I don't count Babe Ruth. But Barry Bonds, for the most part, is the greatest baseball player of all time. He has no World Series wins, so. I would say yes, because she broke every record. She did it without All-Americans on her team. She went to 2 national championships back to back with no All-Americans on her team, like LSU had with the transfer in Haley Van Lith. Angel Reese transferred. South Carolina's team was absolutely loaded. The other teams are escaping me. Louisville is always pretty good. Stanford's, obviously solid. But, Caitlin Clark probably did it with the least. It was like LeBron with that Cavs team when he took that Cavs team to the playoffs with Zydrunas Ilgauskas. So I personally would put her in that conversation. She doesn't have the rings, which obviously a lot of people over the weekend were saying her, obviously, because – Tarazi and all those, and Sue Bird and all of them have a lot of rings. But, Caitlin Clark did everything that you needed her to do and took her team to 2 national championships, again, with basically nobody. So I would say yes, but I think a lot of other people disagree. And also look what she did for the sport of college basketball. She basically in her own brought the 18 million people for the most part. And there were, I won't give all the credit to her. Some of those other girls, obviously, the LSU rivalry played its part in it. And then South Carolina being as good as they are and ongoing undefeated, I think that definitely helped. But I think the major backing behind it was Caitlin Clark. So I would put her in that conversation just for that. She definitely has put women's basketball onto a whole other level that we haven't seen before.
Oh yeah, definitely. Her greatness can't be questioned. As far as being the GOAT, I put her up there high, but I can't put her into that echelon because she didn't win a national championship or multiple championship. Yeah, I get Iowa was the least talented, but I will give her credit for being able to get there. But she had 2 cracks at it and couldn't get it done. Although she did go against some good talent with the LSU team. The South Carolina team was unstoppable. I don't even know how that South Carolina team lost last year to in the Final Four last year. They've lost once in 2 years, which is crazy. But being the fact that she was able to get the scoring record and just taking women's college basketball by storm was great. She put a bigger eye on it and helped open it up to some of the bigger women, like you talked about, Cameron Brink from Stanford. There's a girl from Notre Dame. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. It's Hannah something. She's good. Paige will be back another year. Juju Watkins is going to be a star. It's just helping showing that the women are skilled and can have the ability to be exciting. And the best thing about women's basketball is the fundamentals are on point. There's not a lot of sloppy play. There's good execution. There's good ball movement. There's good a lot of things. Just don't play above the rim. That's the thing. But I think she opened up another thing for women. So I believe it will continue to get better and better and better. So I do think Juju Watkins of USC has a chance to break her all-time scoring record if she does stay in college for 4 years. But she had the kind of Steph Curry effect where she was shooting, how she was playing, the swag was just everything that women's college basketball needed to give them a shot in the arm for sure. The next thing we need for it to happen is to translate to the WNBA, which hopefully that can happen sooner rather than later.
I sent you guys that thing too, which I think is already crazy. And that just plays into the Caitlin Clark effect. The first home opener for the Aces when they play the Indiana Fever, which Caitlin Clark is most likely going to get drafted to as the first overall pick, already moved to T-Mobile Arena to add extra seats just to bring in the capacity of people that are going to the game. I think I saw something where it said tickets last year for Indiana Fever game were like $15 or something like that, and now they're going for like upwards of 200. So it's like, I mean, she has. I mean, yeah, I personally think that everything she did kind of makes her the GOAT. If you want to bring rings into it, then you can, but it's just I don't know. I personally think just the way she elevated the sport makes her the GOAT.
He also they did just announce that the Fever will be getting 36 national televised games, so that's another thing. They're trying to promote this thing and bring some eyes to WNBA, which I think will be there because the WNBA draft is Monday, April 15th, so it's coming up real fast.
Last thing I'll say on this, and I don't remember who it was. It was one of the older players, and she was on
Diana Taurasi.
No, not Taurasi. It was someone on someone's podcast. I can't remember who it was. But she was talking about how Caitlin Clark, she looks good doing it against 18-year-old girls. Wait until she gets to the WNBA. Again, she did it without any, all-stars on her college basketball team, and now she's getting that Boston girl who I think was Indiana's pick last year, who was a high pick. Indiana's going to have a pretty good team, so I'm interested to see how well she's going to do when she does get drafted there, because I think she's going to have more talent, obviously, there than she had in Indiana. I think that's only going to just help her. It's going to elevate her, because I think the WNBA is I think she's just going to bring a new level to it, and she's going to have more talent than she did on that Iowa team.
Yeah, for sure.
There's definitely be one of the more anticipated WNBA seasons for sure. All right, so y'all want to switch over to the men. We've seen the men's national championship game. UConn won it all. So it's some of the UConn guys. Adrian, would you like to see any of these guys on the Pistons? Maybe Donovan Clingan, Castle at point guard. Would you like to see the Pistons take any of these guys?
None of these guys really fit what the Pistons want to do. I mean, if you want to I like Tristan Newton. He's probably one of my favorite guys on UConn. He can do a little bit of everything. I think he can at least, at worst, be one of the best backup point guards in the NBA. He can rebound, shoot, plays defense, do a little bit. He can guard everybody. He can do a little bit of everything. Clingan, if we didn't have Jalen Duren, yeah, I would take him. But as far as them going to fit on other teams, I definitely think they can do it. UConn team already lost three pros last year. Have a few more guys coming out. I mean, I like the guy Stephon Castle, the freshman. He can guard. I think he has more potential than Reed's boy Asor. So I like him overall better as a player. But I think all those guys will play in the league, but nobody in particular for the Pistons.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think anybody really you need. They're already guard heavy. I know I said last week that I think that they should trade Jaden Ivey for some sort of piece that's going to help him out a little bit more. He has been playing well since Cade has been out, but again, I mean, he's obviously going to play well when he's being the starting point guard. But yeah, personally, I don't see anybody that would improve this team much more. You could say Castle, I guess. I don't think his defensive ceiling is as high as Asar's would be. Maybe his offensive is a little bit better, but I think Asar's a lot more athletic and better defensively. That's personally me. But I do think Clingan after that game, and granted, Edie scored 30-some plus points and had 13 rebounds, but he played every single. I think he sat 38 seconds or something like that. They said so. I mean, obviously, you're a guy that's 7'4" is going to be able to put up numbers on you when you're doing that. But he's a big body center. He could be like a Nurkic or a Vucevic in the league. He has to work on his offensive game a little bit, I think, but he's definitely a big body guy that can guard the paint pretty well at 7'2". But yeah, I don't think a lot of these guys. I don't even know if any of them, other than Klingon, has declared for the draft. Castle hasn't, has he?
I haven't heard anything yet. No.
Yeah, those guys might. I feel like majority of those guys, if they don't have to leave, are probably going to come back to UConn and try and run it back, go 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think Castle's going to end up declaring though. I don't think he's announced yet, but I think he's going to end up declaring. He'd probably be a top 5, top 7 pick. So I don't see why not.
The deadline to declare for the draft is April 27th. We got a couple. We got a couple weeks.
Yeah, not too far away. I seen USC's point guard declared. What's his name again?
Isaiah Collier.
Isaiah Collier. Yeah. He's a nice guard as well. So seems like this is a good draft for guards.
I will say I don't know if I would put Castle in the top 5 to 7 picks in the NBA lottery.
He's a top. He's a top 10 pick to me.
I'd say 15. A lot of the guys that are going early are a lot of G leaguers and bigger guys. So there's only a very few like Reid Shepard.
I don't think he's that good, but
I don't think so either. I believe me. I don't think so. Reid Shepard.
Did he declare yet?
Yeah, I think he did. Shepard, and then the guy is another guy from Duke.
Proctor went back to school to point the other guy. McCain hasn't.
Dillingham, he's in G League, right?
No, Dillingham's for Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, he's projected to go top 7, 5 to 7. So there's a lot of guys that are going to go a little bit ahead of him. I know that Dillingham has been projected, or Reid Shepard, one of those two have been projected to go to the Spurs. So because Spurs obviously, the Spurs are a team to watch for over a point guard because they need someone that can facilitate the ball because it's just no man's land out there right now. It's just Wemby and 4 other guys, dribbling a ball around him because he's got no guard there. But Castle will get drafted. I just think he's going to be in the later half of the lottery.
For sure. Yeah, we'll see who ends up declaring by that April 27th deadline. All right, let's move over to the Wings. Red Wings currently got 84 points. Big game tonight. The game's live. They're at Pittsburgh. Much needed win. They had a bad loss against Washington. Who's up in that one?
Pittsburgh's up 4-3, and it's the intermission into the third period.
Oh, here we go, fellas.
So yeah, we're going into crunch time for that one. Yeah, they had the bad loss against Washington Tuesday, a game where they doubled them on shots on goal, but still only scored 1 goal in the last 5 seconds of the game. But so Reid, man, the Wings, if they end up making the playoffs, is it time to put Stevie Y on the hot seat? And do you think Derek Lalonde comes back?
There's just something There's something I just can't I can't fault Steve Yzerman for some reason because he's done a lot of stuff that obviously, again, I don't think that I've said it before. I don't think there's anything at this trade deadline he could have done that really would have, turned the table much more than it already has. I think the team is playing a little bit sloppy. Maybe Lalonde is to blame for the line that the few of the lineups they got going on. It doesn't seem like, they had that Kane and DeBrincat line and Larkin, and then they shifted that one around, and it just hasn't seemed to work since Larkin got hurt. So I think it would be Lalonde more on a hot seat than Stevie Y. I know there's been a few reports of him potentially being released after this year. I don't know who you're going to replace him with, really. At this point, I mean, obviously you got to see who becomes available or who might want a head coaching job, but maybe he's just not the guy. Obviously there can be a lot of one and dones in NHL. It happens quite often for coaches. So I still wouldn't put Stevie Y in the hot seat. He's been drafting well. If you look, I mean, you have Mo Sider, who's a Calder winner for Rookie of the Year. Lucas Raymond is the highest scoring player on the team. Simon Edvinson's been playing great since he's been called up. I think he's got a permanent spot on the roster. Guys like Perron that he traded for, Gostisbehere has been playing well. So I think Stevie Y made a lot of moves that helped the team overall. I think that it's just line and for some reason chemistry right now. They're in a slump. DeBrincat, I don't think has scored since late February since they played the Capitals.
19 or 20 games or something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's been on a real bad slump, and you brought him in here to be, he's been a 40-goal scorer before. And I don't even think he's cracked 30 yet. So it's tough. I think that's the main thing that's really going on with this Red Wings team is they're just playing sloppy hockey right now. And Lyon was playing so well, and then he got sat out for a few games because of an injury, and then he came back and he hasn't been the same. So it stinks. I personally wouldn't put Stevie Y on the hot seat. I'd like to see some of these other draft picks that he's got, like Marco Kasper, Nate Danielson, who I think is maybe another year away because he was 18 when they drafted him. He's young, but some of these other guys come up. Maybe Sebastian Kosa, the goalie that they drafted pretty high a few years ago. come up and hopefully shine. He's been doing really good in Grand Rapids. I think it's Derek Lalone probably goes before Steve Yzerman, to be honest with you. I think Steve Yzerman he has a really long leash. I don't think it's getting much shorter for the time being.
I mean, everything you said, I agree with. It's the same thing as if you look at Troy Weaver right now. He continues to box the bag or just not be super aggressive or don't make the moves that we need him to make, and yet these owners are just content with it. I really don't know. Illich is known to be cheap and really don't want to spend a lot of money, man. The Tigers could have went out and got a third baseman. They can't hit to save their life. So I can't blame Yzerman. My only gripe with Yzerman, I just wish he would be hyper ultra aggressive and go for it. Why not? You've been rebuilding this thing for 5-6 years now. Now it's time to win and get in the playoffs. The Wings are a historic franchise, and they should not have to be waiting this long to rebuild a team to get into the playoffs and be contenders in the Eastern Conference. It's just my take on it. But
I do think if Lalone gets fired, like I said, I don't know who you would replace him with, but like Adrian just said, I mean, the Wings are such a historic franchise. Like, you can basically get anybody to come here and coach. I know a guy that was on the talks before they hired Lalone, and if you put the beef aside, I think would be a great coach. Would be Sergei Fedorov. I know you have a lot of guys like Patrick Waugh just came and is coaching now. So like, I know a lot of ex players are coming up to play or coming up to coach. A guy like Shane Doan is in the front office position with the Phoenix Coyotes. So like, a lot of ex players are coming and running teams or working with teams. Obviously, the Wings have Lidstrom and Holmstrom and a lot of other guys in the front office that have played and now are doing hockey-related things. So, if you could put aside, maybe you do the old Calvin Johnson and you send an apology letter to Sergei Fedorov and you tell him to come coach and hopefully get this team in the position. But I don't know. I think. I agree with Adrian. I don't think you should be in this position. I think they should be probably where Tampa Bay is, at 90-plus points, not battling for, 85. So it stinks. I hate to see it because this team looked so promising in the middle of the season.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I can't blame it all on Stevie Y. I think he's coming back for sure. I think Lalonde comes back, honestly, even if they miss the playoffs. But I do think next year will be his make or break year for sure. If they end up missing the playoffs again next year, he'll be gone for sure. But they're on the cusp right now that they really needed to win that game against Washington Tuesday. So they pretty much got to win out here. They're at Pittsburgh tonight, at Toronto, then versus Montreal. Then they got to go to Montreal. So they pretty much got to win out at this point. So they're by the skin of their teeth. So Reid, if they did sneak into the playoffs, do you think they could realistically make any noise?
They would have to play the Panthers, I believe, right? I think they would play the Panthers. Boston plays Tampa. Boston would have to play Tampa because they're 2. I think that's the way it goes. I don't think they maybe win a game, like luckily win a game. But I think that they wouldn't make it past the first round. Not the way that they're playing, at least. The way that they're playing, and playoff hockey is a completely different animal. I think it's. You obviously have Raymond and Sider, who both haven't been in the playoffs. You have Edvinsson, who hasn't been in the playoffs. But you have a lot of guys that have been in the playoffs. Larkin's been there. Or no, maybe like 16. Was Larkin drafted by 16? Yeah, he should be. He should have been in there by then. But you have Perron. He's won a Stanley Cup. Lyon played for the Panthers last year. So you have vets that have been there, but it's going to be tough sailing if they do get in. I don't think they'd make it past the first round because again, they're playing either Boston or the Panthers.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so yeah, I did want to move up to the NBA. So we do know in the Western Conference who the 4th and the 5th seed are. That's locked in right now. Clippers are the 4th seed. Mavs are the 5th seed. So they're going to be playing each other in the first round. Dallas won 16 out of their 18 last games. Luka's averaging 33, 9, and 9. So Adrian, do you see this Mavericks team getting to the Western Conference Finals? How dangerous could they be?
They absolutely could get to the Western Conference Finals, no doubt in my mind. The way Luka's playing right now, he's on a tear right now. And I just got to give Kyrie his credit, man. This is like the happiest I've seen Kyrie look in a few years, man. We know he's been bouncing around from Boston to Brooklyn, now with Dallas. But I think this Dallas team is catching the groove and playing great basketball right now. They can. I don't think they can win a championship, but I definitely think they can get to the conference finals. It's definitely possible. And if, like you said, they play the Clippers in their first round, that matchup, that series is going to be crazy. We've seen the battles these teams have had during the bubble, even the year after that. That 21 series. It's been crazy, but I will tell you, these Western Conference playoffs, man, are going to be something special to watch. But there's definitely Dallas definitely has a shot to win among the other four teams that are above them to win a championship.
Yeah, this series is it's gonna be like a bittersweet series for me because I'm such a homer for Kawhi Leonard and Russell Westbrook, and I know Adrian's a big Paul George guy,
Sure.
and I also love Luka. I haven't been the biggest Kyrie fan as of late since the Boston and the Brooklyn, but like Adrian said, he does look happy. He's playing really well, so I can't fault him. So this series is going to be very, very interesting for me. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Clippers because I like Kawhi and I want Russ and PG to get a ring, and Luka's still young, so I mean he's got time and he's still playing crazy, so he's got his whole future ahead of him. Those guys are kind of on the steps down to some Hall of Fame jackets. So I am rooting a little bit more for the Clippers, but I mean, like Adrian said, I think that Dallas could make a lot of noise. Like you said, they're the hottest team. I think, which I don't think he's going to get it, but I think Luka has been playing out of his mind and kind of should solidify himself, as the number one guy. Like you said, he's averaging, I think 33, 9 and 9.5, almost 10. So it's crazy. I mean, obviously the Nuggets are playing well too, and Joker's a freak. But I think I feel bad for, again, talking about young guys. I feel bad for OKC because OKC is going to have that West is going to be some sort of battle to get through. I mean, they're either going to have to play. They're going to end up playing probably the Suns, I would assume, right? Because they're second or third. And then they probably have to play they probably have to play either the Clippers or the Mavs, I would assume.
I mean, the Warriors still got a chance to even get up to 8 before the regular before by the time the play-ins done or the regular season's done. So they're in the way they're playing right now. My problem is I like OKC. I like what they've done. Don't get me wrong, it's been a great story. One of the youngest teams in the NBA, but when it comes down to it and they're playing these veteran teams, besides Minnesota, but Minnesota has size, I think, which can combat them. And Cat will be back tomorrow, guys. He's making a return tomorrow. But just playing Denver, the Clippers, Dallas, even New Orleans, the Phoenix Suns, these teams have, even Sacramento's of the world, they have some veteran leadership. I just think OKC, this is going to be a playoffs where they're just catching their feet and getting their feet wet. Shea's got a little bit of playoff experience from his rookie year when the Clippers played the Warriors, but I just don't think they're ready yet. I don't think it's their time yet. I think they'll gain some heavy experience in this, and they'll make a good run at it. But that's the team I'm looking at who's going to bow real quickly to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so you mentioned the Warriors. They're currently in the 10th seed. They're probably going to be in the play-in. If they do end up on the outside looking in and they don't make the playoffs, do you think it's time to break this team up?
I say, with the way they're playing right now, I say give everybody a year, one more year together, and let's see what they can do. Actually, they played pretty well on the road this year. I believe they won like 16 out of their last 21 road games, catching fire right now. Draymond's not going to shoot the ball like he did against the Lakers right now. Let's just get that twisted. But he is shooting 38% from the field. Now, let's say he lessens the suspensions next season. They get some more help, some more offensive firepower, maybe a big man. I think they can give it another go at it. They're in a better spot than the Lakers, to me, in my opinion. But I do think that they find a way to get in. I do think at least they get up to 9 and play the A seed, whoever that's going to be, and get the A spot. Can they win the first round series? We don't know, but they do hold the tiebreaker over the Lakers right now. So we'll see. But I think the Warriors are in a good position. It's just the way they played early to start the year. Steph, if you look at it, I know he's 35, 36, but he's still playing like a superstar level player. Clay's starting to find his rhythm a little bit. Wiggins, I think they got to find a way to get him out of there and get a guy who's going to be better for him. But I kind of like where they're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, I somewhat agree. I think if they do decide together, they could potentially a Kuminga's coming into his own. I think Wiggins you probably have to get rid of. they need a big man. Hey, maybe trade him James Wiseman. They could use that talent. But I think maybe a Klingon. Maybe I don't know if they have a draft pick this year, but maybe go and get him. He'd be a perfect guy for them, I think. Ultimately, I do though think I think teams are going to try and go after Clay, trying to think of some teams that might need
Orlando's been the big rumored one.
Yeah, like an off the bench shooter kind of guy. So I think they might ultimately try and trade Clay and get what they can for him.
He's actually going to be a free agent. So
will he be? Okay, then yeah, he might if he gets maybe he gets a better offer than what Golden State's going to offer him, and he goes. But yeah, I don't know. I think after this year it might be. I would probably take them not repeating or going to another championship and maybe eking out of the playoffs more than them going into the playoffs, or they might make a play-in game, but I don't know if they would win it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'd like to see the Pistons inquire about Andrew Wiggins or Draymond. Honestly, if they
no Wiggins. Don't want that contract.
I like Wiggins. I think he can fit here. I think he'd be good guy on the wing.
I'll take Kuminga,
but I don't think they're going to trade him.
I don't think they're going to come off Kuminga. I'm just talking about realistic guys they would get rid of.
Maybe Podziemski, they'll get rid of him. I think he's a nice blue guy.
I don't know if I would take Draymond. I don't know where he even fits in the team, to be honest with you. But I mean, he's a little too old for my blood. If he wants to come off the bench and for a vet minimum, sure, I'll take him. But I mean, I'm not throwing him in the starting lineup.
Well, let's get him.
I just mean for his veteran leadership, because we got a real young team, a lot of guys that don't know how to win yet. You bring in a guy that's won championships, that knows what it takes to get there.
Come on, Raj. We got Evan Fournier. What are you talking about? He's a vet. Taj Gibson is there now. Have you seen the way that Wiseman's
Come on, man. We got DeAnthony Melton. So come on.
Oh man.
If you look at it, we have to find a way to get better, because the Western Conference is going to be just as good next year. Look, the Spurs are going to have another year of Victor Wembanyama getting better. It's possible Trae Younger, DeJounte Murray, rumors to San Antonio, so they'll improve. Memphis Grizzlies will be back next year. Ja will be healthy, ready to go. I think they'll make a run at it.
Utah team will be healthy.
Yeah,
half the Grizzlies team is dead.
Yeah, for sure. Utah is going to be a lot better. They've drafted some guys. Look at Houston. They've come on late at the end of the season, and they got your favorite coach, Raaj and Udoka. Jalen Green's been playing well. Van Vliet, Brooks, Jabari Smith. So this is looking at a lot of this stuff. Orlando's going to be another year better. Look where they're at right now, and they don't really have a lot of shooters. Paolo's is a superstar in the making. So just looking at some of these young teams, man, just so disappointing to just be like, man, how can the Pistons with no opportunity to do this? But once again, it falls on our boy Troy Weaver. So
just in case you were wondering, they're down 123-98.
I think they just shut Cade down. They just shut him down to be like, just get a rest. Yeah. He's not hurt.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to play for the rest of the season.
They're just saying knee injury when it's not really a knee injury. They're probably just like, just rest. There's no point in putting miles on the tires.
Yeah. The Pistons got about 3 games left?
2 after this.
Yeah.
Guys, is there any interest for either one of you to take a shot and sign Miles Bridges in the offseason?
Yes. That's the number one thing I want them to do in the offseason is sign Miles Bridges. I think that'd be a great addition for them. Granted, now there's a big if. I mean, he has to stay out of trouble, and he's known to do that. So I want him to come here, and I mean, obviously it's a tough situation to come to, but it's not much worse than Charlotte, So can't really complain. Pistons are gonna have a load of money. Fucking just pull out whatever money you can and throw it to him, because I don't see what else you're gonna do with it. I mean, there's not many guys out there that you can go and get that are his caliber of player.
Yeah, for sure. I'm all on the Miles Bridges train. They're not going to win another game the rest of the season. They're clearly trying to lose with the roster and the players they're putting out there. So they're trying to get as many ping pong balls ready for the lottery as possible.
Great.
I think again, or another thing to do if they don't want to do that, take Ivy, Stu, and your next 2 first-round picks, protected top 3, and send them to New Orleans and see if you can get Brandon Ingram. I would do that too.
Yeah, you know that's why I've been one. Brandon Ingram and Michael Porter Jr. Those two guys. Like I said, I would trade that lottery pick for either one of those guys this year. Me personally, if you can get one of those guys, Miles Bridges. I know you guys aren't a big fan of. I'm a fan of Levine. I like Zach Levine.
His contract just says it's just his contract and his health are the only things that are pulling me away from him. I mean, I'd still take him. Don't get me wrong.
Does he really want to be in Detroit? Because he's known to doesn't even want to be in Chicago. So I mean, what to tell you? Is his attitude gonna be? Is his head gonna be in the right space?
That too.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so Adrian, Boston, number 1 in the East, got the best record in the NBA. So if Boston doesn't win it all this year, if they don't get it done, is the season a failure for them?
Oh, 100%. There's no questions. If you look at the Eastern Conference right now, it's theirs handed to them on a silver platter right now. Embiid just came back from injury. Giannis is hurt right now. The Bucks just look dysfunctional. I don't know what's going on with them. The Knicks have a lot of injuries. As good as Jalen Brunson's been playing, I just don't think they have enough firepower to compete with them. And there's a lot of young teams. Cleveland, I don't think is ready yet. Orlando's not ready yet. Indiana's not ready yet. Miami, no, I think last year was a fluke as good as they are. I think they lack talent from top to bottom of the roster. So I just think Celtics should be able to get to the NBA Finals pretty easily, in my opinion. No excuses. They put this roster together. They've got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, added Porzingis, who's having a career year. Derek White's their 5th best player and could be a 3rd or 4th best player on another team. Al Horford's still playing incredibly basketball. I don't know how, but they have a good roster from top to bottom, man. There's no excuses.
Yeah, they were down 20 last. Boston was down 20 to the Knicks last I looked.
They don't care.
But like Adrian said, if they don't make it, it would be a huge failure. I mean, honestly, if they don't win it, I personally think it's a huge failure. They need to win the East, and if they don't win the championship, that's a complete failure. Yes. So I think they just re-signed Drew Holiday to a deal, a 4-year extension, 4-year, $132 million or something like that. Obviously, Brown, they're paying all these guys, and they have whatever it may be on the bench, guys coming off the bench. Derek White's obviously proven himself. They got Porzingis, so it's what needs to happen. I don't know. They just need to play better basketball. I think that they're too selfish in Boston, to be honest with you. I think the guys, the core 5, the chemistry really isn't there. That's just kind of what I think. But I mean, I could be wrong. Obviously, everybody wants to win, but in certain times you see Tatum play, and I'm a big Tatum fan, but you see him play kind of selfishly or try to play hero ball, and it doesn't ever really work out. So I know that was a big downfall of his last year against Miami. If they don't, it's definitely a failure. Right? You can't blow the thing up because everybody's under contract, so you just have to run it back. But I would definitely say that they need to figure something out. New coach, probably.
Yeah, I agree. Shout out in the building. Appreciate you tuning in.
Should have never got rid of Aduka or whatever his name was.
Well, that was for we all know that's for.
Well, yeah,
that's his own personal business, but hey, that's for aesthetics. So they don't want to make the optics look bad in that situation.
Yeah,
that was all a PR thing.
Now, no offense to the guy, I don't know him as a human being, but he went to the Rockets, and I can't stand the Rockets. So I hope they never win another game.
I don't like the Rockets either.
So, Adrian, is it time to start giving Tatum some MVP consideration?
Yeah, I think they're kind of getting penalized for being as good as they are. Even Missoula's not getting mentioned in Coach of the Year honors. Yeah, he definitely is, but I think a lot of people are holding his playoff disappointments right now considering the regular season. But I just think they're so good that they haven't missed a beat if Tatum misses a game or Jaylen Brown misses a game. So I think them being that good kind of hurts his MVP chances as of right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I mean, it's always so tough because he plays so well, but then there's guys on other teams that are just so much more offensively dominant, and it's just, again, I also think that his team, even being first in the East, is a little bit not looked down upon, but look not as impressive because the East is so weak. Once they extend once they bring in the Seattle Sonics back and and bring in a Vegas team, and the East gets Minnesota and either the Pelicans or the Grizzlies in the East. I think it'll be a little bit more exciting. But yeah, as of right now, I think he's just too easy of a division. People don't really look at it as him being an MVP type guy.
Yes, sir. All right, we'll close it out. Reid, what's your predictions for UFC 300 this weekend?
For which fight? The Pereira fight?
Yeah, the main event. The Gaethje fight, co-main event. Yeah,
The Gaethje Holloway fight is going to be crazy. Those two guys are both absolute animals. I'm leaning more towards Gaethje on that one, but that one's almost just a pick me fight. I think either one of those guys, can land something and knock the other one out. But Gaethje, I think, every fight that he's had in the UFC has been against top 10 opponents. So he's definitely weathered a pretty crazy storm. So I am picking Gaethje for that one. I got to go against the Detroit product and Jamel Hill, and I'm going for Pereira. I just think Pereira's probably the best UFC fighters right now. So I'm going with Poatan for that one, and then I also like Charles Oliveira. He every time he has a kid, he just comes out and dominates, and he just had a kid. So that's been the big joke. I know he's the underdog, so he's still a heck of a fighter. And every time I doubt Oliveira, he wins. So I got to go with him. Maybe I go with him if he loses now, so fade me if you're going to bet it. But every time I go against him, he wins. So I got to stop doubting the guy after his last fight.
All right. Man, I was just getting excited about this. Before I tell you my picks, Dana White just announced that there will be handed out $300,000 bonuses for UFC 300. So giving the fighters the extra incentive to go get that bag. So shout out to them. Shout out to Dana for doing the right thing. But that being said, a couple of the fights I like. My boy Aljamain's back in the ring. Aljamain Sterling, he's fighting Calvin Kattar. I think he slaughters him. Yeah, Sterling hasn't fought since the loss to O'Malley, I believe, in Boston. So I believe he's on revenge. Then we got up and coming fighter Bo Nickel playing Cody Brundage. I think Bo Nickel annihilates him in a knockout. And for this Oliveira fight, I gotta go against our boy Reid.
I'm telling you, Adrian, I went against him in the last 4 fights, and I think he's won all 4. I just can't do it anymore. Again, fade me if you're going to bet him, because now that I'm going for him, he's probably going to lose. But I've done it too much. I've been kicked in the teeth by that guy metaphorically too many times. So I don't blame you, to be honest.
And then these last 3 fights for the main event: Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway. I gotta go with my boy Max Holloway. He's due for a win. A couple fights ago, he got screwed over by the refs. I think he won that fight. He's got heart, man. Gaethje's a puncher too. I think this is gonna be a slobber knocker, guys. These guys are gonna be throwing haymakers. This fight doesn't go the distance in my eyes. If somebody's getting knocked out. Then we got the co-main event with the women. I get their names wrong. So forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, but Zhang Weili and Zhan Axian. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but
close enough.
I'm going with Zhang. I've watched her fight a few times. She's a beast. I believe she's Chinese, but she's a beast in the ring. So I'm picking her to defend her title. And then for Pereira Hill, hometown guy Jamal Hill, against Pereira. I'm gonna go with the underdog. I'm rolling with I'm going with the Michigan man Jamal Hill to get the upset.
Yeah, I like Hill in that main event as well. I'm around with the hometown guy, and I like Gaethje over Holloway. I'm running with Gaethje on that one. So yeah, my pick.
Mind you, Hill has a 7-year difference. Reach is the same. Everything else is the same. I think he'll be able to wear Pereira down. Pereira's a very heavy-handed puncher, so but I just gotta go with Hill, man.
Just beating Gami's record. Do you see that?
Yeah.
He beat his punch machine record, 191,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You said a 7-year age gap. What, Hill's older or younger?
Yeah, Hill's older.
He's younger. He's 32.
Or younger, I mean, sorry, yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry, 4 year. I'm sorry. They're 36. Pereira's 36 and Hill's 32.
Yeah.
So
I've watched Pereira fight. He's one of the most exciting and he's heavy-handed, but he's patient also and a very good defender. So that's why I'm taking him. And he's also one of my new favorite fighters. So I ride with him ever since he beat Izzy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like supporting the hometown guys. I like root for the Michiganders.
sir.
Yeah, that was all I had. One last thing we get out here. E said, is the Tyson and Jake Paul fight still happening?
That I know of, yeah. July 27th.
Isn't it like Paul's wearing like protective SWAT gear and Mike Tyson has to come out in like the Borat thong and like Jake
Something
Paul
crazy.
can tag his brother in at any point and they can like double fight Mike. It's crazy. I mean, will I check it out? Probably, just because I hope Mike Tyson knocks his head off. But I mean, will it happen? I don't know. He's coming out with like he gets to fight him like 5-on-1, and I still think Tyson would win.
Hey guys, real quick too. This is Jamal Hill's first fight since January of last year, so he's well rested for this fight.
That's what also scares me too, though. If you're rooting for
Might
him,
be a little rusty.
Yeah, a little too much time off.
Yeah, that's a lot of time off. So yeah, we definitely see how he looks. Pereira ain't no joke, so he's gonna have his hands full with that one.
Last thing on the UFC thing, I'm a little upset about the Bo Nickel fight. I wish he was fighting a little bit harder competition. I get he's a rookie, and not really a rookie. He's already had a UFC fight, but I wish he had a little bit. His next fight will definitely be a higher competition, but he's supposed to be the next up and coming like big wrestler. He's a big wrestling guy, so I would have liked to see him on and it's UFC, so anything could happen. He could get caught on the chin and get knocked out, but I would have liked to see it a little bit more even fight. But we'll see. I'm excited to see him come up and maybe make some noise.
Yeah, he's gonna try to tap Brundage out because he's got 3. He's already has three submissions already out of his 5 fights. So he's
exciting to watch. But again,
Yeah.
I think it's the lion playing with its food. To be honest, with these other guys he's fighting, I'm waiting. I want to see him against some serious comp.
For sure. Well, yeah, we'll have the UFC 300 wrap up Tuesday 8:00. So yeah.
Sir.
Yeah, it was all I had. Good show, fellas. And make sure you guys.
fellas.
Yes, sir. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe
Wings
to the
are probably
channel.
going to lose. It's 5-3. Sorry.
Playoffs hope, sir. Out the window. Next week we got to talk some Tigers. But
Yeah, sorry, Raaj.
Draft.
Into that.
Hey, and guys, NFL draft 2 weeks away from today. Almost
We'll
here.
know what and also sorry, we cut Raaj off again. I know next week, not next week, we won't know, but Thursday you'll see the Lions' new uniforms.
That next Thursday?
18th.
Okay.
Sorry, Raaj,
Sir.
continue.
No, so we got to get it all in there. We got to get it all out. All right, shout out to E. Say y'all fellas be safe. Appreciate
Sir,
you.
you too.
All right. Well, yeah. Sports update. We'll see you guys next Tuesday at 8:00.
See ya.
Peace.
Appreciate it. Peace.